I've talked about this before, but this show in particular, is the perfect place to have this conversation. Long form storytelling, specifically TV series, is built on a foundation that rarely gets discussed. I had this conversation with the American film market, which is where distributors and filmmakers from all over the world convene once a year. There's three film markets. There's one in America, there's one in Asia, and there's one in Berlin. The last I heard, I haven't looked into this in a couple years, but it's Berlin, Los Angeles, and I don't remember which city in Asia. It may be Hong Kong, or it could be Tokyo. I'm not sure. It's one of the cities in Asia. But people convene there every year, and they buy films. All the films you see get distributed throughout the course of a year, other than the studio films. We're talking about anything that's not a studio film. You know, the big five studios, essentially. Or they're just three now. They keep eating each other. But anyway, anything below that. So, and we're talking about, there's some major movies that are below that. We're talking about 50, 60, $70 million budgets are not studio films. They're not the big five or the big three or whatever it is. Anyway, I'm getting off track. My point is, when you go there, you know, as me as a little lowly independent filmmaker, it's about 600, $800 to get a badge. You can go in there and you can talk to these people. You can pitch your projects, which I did 3 times. And you get to have conversations with these people. I'd buy them a drink. Never even got the chance to buy them lunch, even though I offered every time. But I was able to buy them a drink and pick their brain for 10 minutes. And so I did this a lot. Sometimes after they rejected my proposal, they would say, okay, you know, I'll answer any 2 questions you have because this was good. Not good enough for us to buy it, but it's good. That happened actually 3 or 4 times where they were impressed enough to actually answer my questions. So I talked about everything with them, learned a hell of a lot. It was film school for producers. One of the things that one of my most fascinating conversations was the concept of how you engineer a long form story. What is the engine that drives a long form story? And the way he described it is basically you want to create a cast of characters that people want to spend time with, and they don't care how they spend time with it. Like, you would want to just have a beer with these people. You want to have lunch. You want to have barbecue. You want to go to the beach with them. You want to go on holiday with them. And yes, you want to fight the vampires and the Nazis and the monsters and the aliens or the legal drama. You know, have shenanigans in the city if it's a sitcom, whatever. The key to, now this is not true for a film. For a small film, maybe a miniseries, it's not even true. But anything that's longer than a few hours, you want the audience to want to spend time with these people no matter what they're doing. It's not plot that drives long form storytelling, it's the characters. You want them to be people that we want to spend time with. That's why I love Lost. That's why in all these shows, you'll see Lost, Flash Forwards, some of the other shows that know what they're doing. At the end of a season, they resolve character conflicts. At the end of the series, they resolve character conflicts. The Lost finale could have explained a few more mysteries if they wanted to, even though it was there in the text. Other people on YouTube channels have described all the answers that were there on the text. They were there. But they could have been more explicit with this, but they didn't want to spend the screen time. They wanted to resolve the character arcs. The character. They wanted to resolve the characters because that's what we were spending time with. I want to see Jack and Kate and Sawyer and John Locke do a variety of things. I'd love to see them try to find a murderer in 1920s Detroit. You know, I want to see them fight aliens. I'd love to see them fight terrorists in 24. Like, you know, you love these characters. You want to spend time with these characters. And obviously, that's the engine that drives this series. Like, it's the character stupid, right? You know, like, you know, not the economy stupid, it's the character stupid. That's literally how I've summed it up in my mind. First and foremost, you want to create characters that we want to spend time with. Now, that doesn't necessarily mean we want to be friends with these people. Sometimes, like John Locke, they're compelling, they're fascinating. I don't want to be John Locke's friend. I don't want him to be my leader. But I can't take my eyes off him. I want to spend as much time with him as possible. You know, he would be useful. I'd keep my eye on him, but he'd be useful if we were stuck on an island together. So that's what they're doing here. So that's got to be why people are so fascinated with this series. I'm sure there's good plots, but I imagine more than anything, you want to spend time with these characters, and you can't get enough, and you keep wanting to spend more time with these characters. And I think these are also the shows that people rewatch. I rewatch Lost. A lot of people rewatch Lost. So the subreddit's still very active. What, 13 years after it ended? Like almost a generation after it ended, the subreddit's still very active. I bet the Heroes subreddit isn't. Probably the 24 subreddit isn't. I love 24, but those are not really, other than Jack Bauer, they were not really that compelling characters. They were interchangeable. They would kill them off too fast. Buffy is still active because those are characters we want to spend time with. This show, more than anything, and I'm only 18 episodes into this so far. I'm about to record episode 19 when I finish doing this. I truly believe this. This is a show about the characters. So, with that in mind, I want to do a thing I've never done before. It's a lot of extra work, but I want to do it because I want to not only keep track of the characters, but also keep track of how I feel about the characters. And me being who I am with the producer and lists and tables and stuff like that to organize things. This is what you do, right? Like this is what a producer does anyway. And yes, this is stupid. You cannot quantify the unquantifiable, but I'm doing it anyway. I'm going to keep a table that keeps track of how I feel about the characters across a variety of metrics. And the metrics are arbitrary. The number of assignments, it's 1 to 10, are arbitrary. And basically give totals. Now, this is a combination of how I feel about them as characters and then how I'd feel about if I was in the world. So, yes, it is a combination. For instance, I've got a cool factor here. Nobody in the world cares how cool you are. Like, unless you're trying to make money or you're trying to make people follow you. Maybe at some point Luffy will need to look cool so that people will follow him. I doubt it. So this is more of an out-of-universe thing. But I'm kind of mixing it all together. My categories are friendship. How good of a friend are they? Fighting abilities. Trustworthiness/loyalty. Comedy. Another out-of-universe things. Who cares how funny somebody is? Yeah, you want a friend who's funny, obviously. But like in the grand scheme of things, that's not why you're friends with somebody. It's a benefit. It's sauce on the goose, right? Cool factor, and then the total, all the numbers totaled up. So I'm going to update this when we have new characters that I want to have an opinion on, or every Friday's episode, which means every 5th episode, I will do an update. So now this is going to be its own video. So people who don't care about this can just skip it and go straight to the next reaction. And what I'm going to be doing with these ratings, I'll put them at the end of the episodes. I'm not going to put them at the beginning where people who don't care have to wade through this. If they just want the reaction, they can go to the reaction. But every Friday's episode, at the end of the episode, there'll be one of these. I'll stick this on here. Also, there'll be additional ones of these at the end of some episodes if there's a reason, like if somebody drastically changes their score. Say Usopp just stabs somebody in the back and his trustworthiness goes way down. Then I would have to update it right then and there while I'm thinking about it because I'm pissed off. So that may happen at the end of random episodes. But at the end of every 5th episode, every Friday's episode, there'll be one of these. So you've got that to look forward to. I'm also going to have try to incorporate images into this. I've got, Klaus is trying to find these for me. But I need to record this now and it's going to take me a couple days. So this will look better in the future, hopefully. All right, so let me just go through this. Luffy has a 5 friendship, and that probably needs to be explained, right? I don't think he can relate to people. First of all, he's very self-absorbed. He doesn't. Now, at the end of one of the recent episodes, recent for me, which is like a 10 or 11, he was actually more perceptive than I thought he was. Usopp was upset, and he sought out Usopp to try to comfort him. That was impressive. Otherwise, Luffy would have been a 2 or a 3. That impressed me. That got him up to a 5. I don't know how good of a friend he is to people. He wants to be a leader, and a captain probably shouldn't be friends with the crew, to be honest with you. But he wants to be a leader, but he's very self-absorbed. He's very distant and cold and detached. I think detached is the word I'm actually looking for. He's not really attached to reality in a way that everybody else is because he's invulnerable. So that's where he is right now in friendship. That's just how I feel about it. Fighting, obviously, is a 9. Nobody's going to be a 10 yet. I need to see more from him. I do think his weakness is sharp weapons. I could be wrong about that, but we haven't seen somebody stab him in the gut and it do nothing. We haven't seen anybody try to saw off one of his arms. So until that happens, he can't be a 10 for fighting, but he's a 9. He's about the best there is out there. Trustworthiness and loyalty. Now, I said he's not a good friend, but I do think he's loyal, and I do think you can trust him. I think if he gives you his word, he's going to keep his word. And if you're a member of his crew, he's loyal to you. He will risk his life to save you. So his loyalty is off the charts. He's a 10 there. Comedy, 10. He's hilarious. Absolutely hilarious. I even like the way the voice actor reads the title of each episode. And I don't know why. There's something about the tone. I think it's a girl, right, who does his voice. The tone that the voice actress does, it's kind of like I can't put my finger on what it is, but something about it is very funny. The voice actor is hilarious. But she only uses that tone when she reads the title. It's not her normal voice for Luffy. So I don't know how to describe it. It just makes you laugh every time. So the character, just everything about the character is funny. Cool factor, Luffy's pretty cool. He's an 8. Nobody's up to 10 yet, but, give him a cape or, I guess they're going to be called the Straw Hat Gang. Like, I just don't think that's very cool. I think once they start calling each other that, that's going to probably even knock another point. Like, it's a damn straw hat, man. Like, we'll see how I feel about that later. All that gives him a total of 42, which makes him the highest character. Which, I didn't rig the game. I didn't, I don't even know if he is everybody's favorite character. I assume he is. But I'm sure some of these other people and people I haven't even met yet may be favorite characters. There's a conversation I avoided in the comments of a recent episode about that. So, and feel free to have your conversations. I don't care. Because, first of all, my memory is terrible, so I won't remember it. Second of all, I can't keep names straight, so I won't remember the names even if I did have a good memory. And third of all, I'll just skim it. When I realize what they're talking about, I skim it and I don't remember a single. I don't know who the hell they were talking about. I don't remember the names, so it's not a spoiler. So feel free to have all the conversation you want in the comments that are spoilery like that. Obviously, don't say, Luffy dies in episode 280, right? Like, that would be stupid. We're not talking about that. But, like, if you bring up a character who's going to be important later, I'm not going to remember it. So go off, right? I don't care. Okay, Nami, friendship 2. Do I even have to say why? She's a chicken. Wait, you can't see my hand. She's a chicken, and you can't trust her. So, 2 things. Plus, she's self-absorbed. She's sneaky. She only cares about herself. She's lucky she ain't a 0. I'm just saying. Fighting 1, I haven't seen any. The only reason she's a 1 and not like a -5 is I think she would stab you in the back. And she's not a coward. So, and you notice I'm not grading bravery because, like, the good guys are brave and the bad guys are cowards. Like, that's just the standard I've seen so far. There's no reason to rate it, right? But she's not a coward, and so she will stand up to you. And I do think that, like, she'll stab you in the back if she'll get the drop on you, stabbing back. We saw her do that. She tricked a guy like she was going to kiss him or something, and then knocked him out. So she's effective. That's why she's not a minus. Trustworthiness / loyalty. The only reason she's not like a -15 is I think she probably is loyal once she considers you family. I don't know that she considers them family yet. She's a -4. Comedy, she's absolutely hilarious. Everything about her cracks me up. The sneaky sneak. Can't trust her. Self-absorbed. Selfish. Stealing. She's hilarious. And she's pretty cool. She's pretty cool. Like, I just really love how they introduce her. Like, we keep running into her. I just love how the whole aesthetic of how they introduced her. She's a 7, so that gives her a 20 total. Zoro, 8 friendship. I mean, it should be obvious. He's probably the best person to be friends with. Him and Usopp are actually both together. They're both 8s. I think Usopp's a very good friend. The only reason they're not 10s, I just want to see some more from them. In every way. Maybe they're not there emotionally for people. Who knows? I don't think Zoro's there emotionally. I don't think you can go there if you're sad and he'll cheer you up or anything, or he'll even want to hear what you're saying. They're not 10s, but they're 8s. They're pretty good. Zoro, obviously an 8, fighting. He's pretty good. Sword in the mouth, you can't top that, right? So, like, well, you can top it by 2, but, like, he's an 8. He's pretty good. Again, he's another 10, trustworthiness, loyalty. I think if he gives you his word, it's word for life, right? You can trust him. Comedy, he's pretty funny, especially when he puts the sword in the mouth. So he's a 7. Cool factor, sword in the mouth, cool. Everything about it is cool. He maybe tried a little too hard to be cool, but whatever, right? He's an 8. That gives him a 41. Just 1 point below Luffy. Usopp, 8 friendship, obviously. Fighting, I don't think he can fight. But he's not a coward. That's interesting. So he's a 3. Trustworthiness, loyalty, 8. It'll be a 10 once I see a little bit more from him. We've only seen him for a couple episodes so far. Comedy, he's pretty funny. Cool factor, he's a -2. Need I say more? I'm not even going to elaborate on that. He's a -2. 25 total. So that's where we are right now. I would love to add to this list, and some villains may even come on here if they last more than an episode or 2. Maybe I'll have a temporary section. The villains will go there for, like, if there's a 6-8 episode arc, they'll go there for the time being, and I'll know, like, depending on when the Friday episode hits every week, I may know, okay, let me just talk about this dude, right? So, all right, well, that's where I am right now. That's a new thing we're going to be doing. We can call it Character Corner if we want to. The old Hello Internet podcast would have, like, Airplane corner when they would talk about airplane crashes. Paperclip corner when they talk about this video game about paper clips, and they would have computer corner when they're talking about corners. We'll just call this the character corner. Every Friday and with other intervening times. But yeah, now I'm going to go ahead and record episode 19.